Albert A. Wall, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. Thank you for joining us on episode 210 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom. I'm here with Trevor. We can't locate Damon at the moment, but he might join us at some point.
he is somewhere in transit.
Yeah, in transit. Yeah,
we don't actually know that. We're just assuming.
We just don't know where he is. This happens sometimes. We lose track of Damon. We need a GPS tracker on him or something. So how's it going? How's everything? I know you're cold up there,
It's cold getting warmer. I remember what it's like to breathe outside again. That's good. Because it was hurting to breathe for a little while there.
Ouch. That's not fun. I would just stay inside all the time.
Well, I did, but you still,
yeah. You still have to go out and do things occasionally. Yeah.
Yeah. Taking my kids to school, got to take the dog out and stuff like that. It's
all that fun stuff.
Just something you deal with. Now I know you were saying before the show too, that you had, some fun weather. I didn't realize that you could have drastic weather swings where you were living either.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. North Carolina, we get it'll be 45 degrees one day, and then it'll jump up to 70 to 80 for a day, and then it'll go back to the 40. It just kills my sinuses. Everybody's all stuffed up right now because literally we had an 80 degree. I think we had a record high day that last week, and at 80 some degrees, and then it's back down to the 50s. It's weird. It's really weird. By the way, did you see I posted in the Discord, I finally, after 3.5 years, and I talked about this on the show, I finally, after 3.5 years, hung up the posters that I bought at Art of Disney, a store in EPCOT that no longer even exists. Well, I mean, I guess it exists, but it's not in the old place that it used to be. But I bought them in 2019, October 2019, and they have finally made it to my wall.
Now,
I'm just glad I finally got it done. Sorry, go.
Are you happy with you figured out the right place to put them, or I guess why did it take you so long to get them hung up?
This is a valid question, Trevor. So the first year or so was spent, the posters were spent in the tubes, right? I was just not getting around to getting them framed, right? Then I got them framed, and I got the box for the frame, with the frame pictures, and I didn't open them for 9 months because they were just sitting there, and I just didn't know what to do with them. And then when I did open them, I didn't like the frames that they were in. Well, I like the frames. They had put a really large border on them. So, and I didn't really like that or matte. Right. And so it didn't look good. Then they were huge. So I sent them back, and they were redone, and I got them back maybe a month or two ago. And I was sitting on Friday, and I was kind of bored at work. Working from home. I was just feeling I'm kind of over this week. I think everybody has that happen every once in a while, right? Where you're just kind of man, it's been a week. I'm tired of this. So I was you know what? I'm just gonna bust these things out of the box and just hang them up on the wall in my office here. And sure enough, I think they look pretty good. So it's more of just we couldn't decide where to put them for the longest time, and it wasn't exactly a high priority for us. Trying to figure that out. There's just a lot of other things going on, and so I just made an executive decision. It was all right, I'm going to throw them up on this blank wall that I have in the office. And, after many movements of the mounts later, because, even though I measured, they still weren't even. They're all three are next to each other, and so they need to kind of be even with each other, So
that's why you need a laser level.
That would be nice. Actually, I feel that's a thing that would be really helpful for hanging pictures, but yeah, anyway, so I got those hung up now, so I'm happy.
Oh, great.
Yeah, they look good. Now I just got to buy some more next time, and then wait another 3 years before I hang them up again. So,
yeah, I actually have a couple from Christmas that I'm in the same boat. I mean, not quite as long, but I have some EPCOT ride posters that I want to get on a wall, but this is the hard part, is that I have a wall where I have Magic Kingdom posters, but I don't, you don't want to mix them, right? Or
well, I mean, I did, but
okay, well,
because I've got a Big Thunder, a Space Mountain, and a Spaceship Earth.
Okay,
next to
so
it.
So yeah, I guess my thing is, I like to kind of keep everything grouped together. So
that's fair.
I need to find a different wall to put the Epcot stuff on, which I think I know, but same kind of thing is, it's like, just taking the time to sit down and actually figure it out. So it's hanging pictures is hard. It's not just, put a nail in a wall and done, right? Like
that's why I put it off for so long, because it's such a pain. Like it's just a pain. Like just all the measuring, and then you do all the measuring, and then you put the nail in the wall, and then you hang it up, and you're like, okay, this is not what I measured at all. How? I don't understand. And then you got to move stuff, and it's just a whole pain. And then at one point, I mounted these above a piano I have in the office here, and of course, at one point, I dropped the nail and the hook right behind the piano. So then I got to move the piano. It's just a whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just I just don't love hanging pictures. It's not my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah. I find it's one of those things, like once you get going with it, it's fine, but it's always, convincing yourself to get started. And then, the other thing too, is, kind of like my issue is I've done that thing before where you hang something up, you don't like where it is, so then you undo it, but then you're left with a hole in the wall, right?
Well, that's exactly.
And then it becomes an even bigger project, because it's like, well, if I'm going to fill the hole, you gotta
paint, and then it's a whole thing.
Yeah, I've been down that road enough that it's like, I'm very like, if I'm going to do it, it has to be the place where it's going to live for the next 5+ years. So
yes, yeah, for sure. So, all right. Well, do you want to do some listener questions here? We can get started here. We're very heavy on DVC questions this week, which is interesting, because I feel like we usually don't get a lot of DVC questions. So it's kind of good. So Christopher asks, as a person who is still on the fence over buying DVC and still researching, what use year should I consider? We like going in February, May, or November. So what should I be looking for? It's a tough question, Christopher, because you like to travel throughout the year. So I don't know if one particular use year is going to be the best for you. Because it's a wide range, right? February, May, and November. I don't know say you go February, honestly, but go ahead, sorry.
Actually, so I kind of went through this with my DVC guide when we were buying our first contract.
Yeah. And
what we settled on was a June use year. And the reasoning behind that was actually kind of similar to what Christopher's talking about here, is that, we said we like to go either, at the beginning of the year or in the fall, closer to Christmas. And his reasoning to us was, a summertime use year means you're not in a position where, if you're trying to book something, that it's like, well, I either have to wait until after my use year to use these points, or I don't, like you don't end up either running out of points or like straddling the fence of your use year, where it's like, these dates don't line up because I don't have enough points, or, I can't book it because it's the end of the month, and your points are taken from both sides, right? So my guide recommended to us like a summertime use year, and we settled on June, but I feel like June, July, August would actually make the most sense here because of the times that Chris is traveling. February, May, you're still like, you can still use them, and you're not running right up to the end of your use year. And then November, you're into the next year if you're doing that. So
yeah, that's true. I guess the only problem, and it's not really a problem, right? But like, your banking deadline is what, 8 months after your use year starts, right? So, if you were going to not use your points,
6 months.
I thought it was 8 months.
I bank mine in January.
I thought it was 8 months. The actual deadline. Let's verify that. But I'm just saying you could run into an issue. Huh?
Yeah, because I always get notified when my points are coming up to bank, and I always have them banked like December going into January.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just pulled up a DVC resales website, and they're saying 8 months from your use year date. So I don't know. But but
because end of June. Oh, maybe that is.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So for a June use year, you would have January 31st as your banking deadline, right? And so that's the last day that you can bank your points. So I mean, it actually would work out okay for you. I mean, I guess if you were planning to go in February or May, you would need to make sure you knew that so you didn't have to bank your points. You know what I mean? Like, I think that would be the only downside to doing it in the middle of the year. But I mean, honestly, with you throughout the year, I think Trevor's advice is good here, but I also think you could probably do, most of the use years. I wouldn't do like a December one necessarily. I would probably try to do more like an earlier one, but yeah, I know. I think your point's well taken, Trevor.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, if you can't get something in the middle of the year, I think earlier in the year is better because when you think about banking and all that kind of stuff, you're exactly right. You don't want to be trying to plan something in February and then finding out that you don't want to be in a position either that if you have to cancel your thing in February that you because you have like the 30-day hold on your points.
Yeah,
you don't want to be running out your use year and basically just losing the points because you had to cancel that one trip, right?
Exactly, where you can't bank them and you're just kind of stuck, right? Yeah. So I mean, I almost would say, like, I mean, depending on which one you do the most, like, if you only occasionally go in February and you're more like May and November, maybe do like a February use year, or to do what Trevor said, do like a middle of the year, like June, so you have you have a little bit more time on the front and the back end. I mean, it just kind of depends, right? I say the front and the back end. You know what I mean? The first half of the year,
beginning and end of the year.
The last half of the year and then the first half of the year. It's so funny because use year is one of those things that just kind of like breaks people's brains because we're so like used to like, oh, the year starts in January and ends in December, but like in DVC world, if you have a June use year, the year starts in June and then ends in June. So it's just kind of weird to think about sometimes. But
the breakup of like, can I use my points and stuff like that? I will admit it did trip me up at first where I was wait, can I book this trip or do I have to wait for my points to reaccumulate and stuff like that? But I mean, the other thing to remember too is, we have borrow and banking for that reason as well.
Yeah.
So it's not as big of a deal.
Yeah, no, I get that. Makes sense. All right. Do we want to read Wendy's question?
Yeah. So Wendy says, I'm planning on buying DVC in the future and want to rent before I buy. The Skyliner is a big draw for me, and I've really been looking at the EPCOT area resorts. Which one would you recommend looking at and why?
Oh man, that's a hard question.
Yeah. Okay. So EPCOT area resorts would consist of Beach Club, Boardwalk, and Riviera.
Yeah.
Am I missing anything?
No, I don't think so. I think that's all of them, right?
Yeah. So those are all the immediate EPCOT ones. Okay, let's start with Beach Club is going to be hard to get for starters.
Yeah. And so, expensive too. I mean, it's going to be really expensive because it's a very popular resort. And also the expiration date on it is so much sooner than like a Riviera, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you could try Beach Club, but like we said, that one's going to be the hardest of the lot to get, I feel. Boardwalk has a better lifespan on it. It's still popular. It's a smaller resort. So again, depending on the size of the group that you're traveling with, it may not fit your needs. Like you may not be able to find the rooms that you want easily. Because I remember you said that, Tom, when you stayed there, was that like the amount it's the studios that they don't have a lot of, like, because you end up going up to a 1-bedroom.
Well, so it was the value studios they don't have a lot of, right? So like the lowest point amount like is they only have like, I think they only have like 10 or 15 of those rooms, right? And then like so then you get the the standard views or the boardwalk views or the pool views, which are a lot more points. But I think for me the biggest issue with Beach Club and Boardwalk is that they both expire in 2042, which is, so if you buy a contract now, you're just getting a little less than 20 years, on your contract. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you buy Riviera, you're 2070, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, anyway, continue our analysis of Beach Club and Boardwalk, but.
Yeah, so looking at those two, they're a little bit shorter, but again, 20 something years, again, don't know your situation, that may be enough for you. Then looking at Riviera, the problem with Riviera is that obviously you're renting points. So what I would say, if you're renting points and you're staying at one of these resorts, you can absolutely go and check out the other resorts. So I would do so as part of your trip that you planned, is use it as an opportunity to kind of go and look around the other resorts and see what feels right to you. And then, taking all this other information into account, you can make a good decision. Riviera being the newest resort, the problem there is that if you're buying direct, it's fine. If you're buying resale, you can only use your points at Riviera. So
exactly.
Again, knowing not knowing what your situation is. If you're planning to, you want to have one of these home resorts, you could, a lot of people say, I'm going to stay in this area, but then, as you found on the show, all of us on the show, as we're moving through our lives and we're going through different phases, it doesn't always make sense to, keep staying the place that you first bought in at. And the problem with the Riviera is that if you do, if you find that you want to stay somewhere else, you actually can't. Right.
Yeah.
Or if you're buying resale. So, that's something to factor in as well, is that, if you're planning to buy direct versus resale, do you really want to be able to try out other resorts? And that could be a deal breaker on why not go to Riviera.
Yeah, I mean, personally, we've talked about this before, right? Like, I've stayed at almost every DVC resort, right? And I don't have points at every resort. I have stayed at Boardwalk. The only ones I've not stayed at so far are Beach Club and Riviera, right? I've stayed at every single other one. So that are in Florida, I should say.
Yeah.
Well, let's say Disney World. I haven't stayed at Vera, right? But at every Disney World resort, right? So except for Beach Club and Riviera, right? And so just me telling you that is that you don't have to own points at the place to stay at the place, right? Like, and that's part of the great thing about DVC is you can buy points elsewhere and then stay at one of those, Skyliner resorts. Because the thing about like Beach Club and Boardwalk are great, right? And I've stayed at Boardwalk a couple times now. And Boardwalk is, really nice and close to the Skyliner, and also, a great walk right into the World Showcase. Like you can't beat that. But Boardwalk can be tough, and Beach Club can be tough to book 6 months out, right? But it might be worth it for you to buy. So it really depends, right? And it's always with DVCs, like depends on your situation, right? Like to Trevor's point, the restrictions on Riviera are pretty bad, right? Like it makes it very difficult to stay anywhere but Riviera, right? So like to me, and then plus you gotta, you could probably find a resale contract out there, but if that's the route you want to go. But if you're going to buy direct, obviously you're going to end up paying a lot more. But for me personally, it's funny. I was looking the other day. I was talking on the show about swapping out contracts, right? Because I have 2 different use years within, and so I have 2 different memberships, and I want to combine that all into one, and I'll have one use year. And one of the things I was talking to my wife about is like, well, what if we don't buy another Animal Kingdom contract, even though we only stay at Animal Kingdom? Because we never book Animal Kingdom out more than a couple, like 4 or 5 months out. Like we just don't, right? So like the home resort thing doesn't really matter to us that much. So I was saying to her, like, why don't we go for something economical like Saratoga Springs? Like, Saratoga Springs is
get more points.
I can get the points cheaper. The dues there are lower, and I can still stay at Animal Kingdom if I want to, or really anywhere else. You just have to, plan that if you're not going to get one of those other places, that you're going to stay at Saratoga. But again, all the resorts are great, right? Like, so it's not that big of a change. I just I would just caution. I don't want to caution people against buying Beach Club or Boardwalk, but I mean, I just feel like I would not buy into especially with the point costs for Beach Club and Boardwalk is so much more, and they have so many less years on them. I mean, I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it. I would buy somewhere else that has longer years, lower dues, and then try to stay at those resorts, booking 6 months out. That's what I would do.
That's okay. I'm going to speculate here a little bit too, because that's a fair assessment of the current state of things. But remember that Old Key West, they extended
that's
contract on it, right? So the point about these resorts are going to run out sooner than others. While true, that doesn't mean that Disney won't, go and extend the contracts on them. Just going back and reading this, Wendy says, the Skyliner is the big draw for her. Yeah. So
I get it.
So
for me too. And Trevor,
so,
right?
so the point about, getting something like Saratoga, you can still use, Saratoga at Beach Club and Boardwalk. If you buy a direct Saratoga, you can use it at Riviera. But if you buy resale, so this is where this gets fun, that if you're choosing direct versus resale, resale is limited now that you can't use resale at Riviera. So if you're really like Riviera is like the best place for you, you're basically resigning yourself to the fact that you're either buying a resale Riviera or you're buying somewhere else direct so that you can stay at Riviera. So that's where that becomes tricky. And the problem there is, Riviera has the Skyliner right in it. Like it stops right there. Yeah. Which I get that. And
it is a huge benefit. It's a huge benefit.
Is. Yeah. So the selling point of that, it really comes down to, what your situation is and how much you want to be, right where the Skyliner is, or, like Tom said, staying somewhere like not Beach Club, Boardwalk, you have that access to the Skyliner, or, you can walk right into World Showcase, which again, still gets you that access to the Skyliner.
Yeah.
It's, it's just a little bit, it's a little bit further of a walk versus right outside your door. Right.
That's true.
So, yeah.
I will say, Wendy, I don't know your situation. Like, I don't know if you have young kids or anything like that. Right. But if you're going to rent before you buy, why not do a bunch of split stays? Right. Like do one trip where you stay at like 5 different resorts. Like that's the benefit of rental, right? Like you could do one night stays at each resort, like, do Riviera, stay one night at Beach Club, stay one night at Boardwalk, stay one night at, wherever else you want to try out. Right. Like,
yeah, that's actually, you're right. I didn't even think about that. I was thinking like, if you're staying even at one of them, you can walk around, check out the other resorts and see, how the layouts of the resorts and, what makes sense and all that. You don't have to stay in the rooms to figure that out. But yeah, if you're there anyway, you can split stay and see how all the different rooms are.
Or you could talk to the DVC guide at each resort that's there, and they'll a lot of times if they have they'll have a room open, they can bring you and show you a room. Like so that's another thing you can do too. Like you can ask the DVC guides that are in the lobbies of each of the resorts if you want to like tour some of these different rooms. Sometimes they do that. So there's a lot of options here. If I were you though, and you were fine with a split stay, like I would just stay at a bunch of different resorts over a week and try them all out and see what feels like home. Yeah. So. Yeah, I hope that helps, Wendy.
We could. I feel we need to know more about Wendy's situation to really give better advice. Like this is very high level advice, but just do your research at the end of the day. Like that's really the biggest thing is and if you have the opportunity to be there and check out these rooms, do so. Like that would be the most important thing, I think, and then you can decide from there.
Yeah, and I'll say this too, Wendy, like talk to the DVC guides that are there. They're not high pressure, right? Like they'll answer your questions or even contact, like Derek at DVC Resale. Derek will guide you through it too. Like, I mean, there are resources out there, besides us. Not that we're, not trying to be helpful here, but Derek or like any of the DVC guides, they can walk you through it, and tell you what, make some recommendations. Now, the DVC guides are going to be a little more like they're going to push you towards Riviera because they want to sell Riviera, right?
Yeah.
But so it's they'll answer your questions, but they'll also probably try to convince you to do Riviera. But like Derek might be willing to give you some more like nuanced information, I'd say. So I would definitely talking to both I think would be of great benefit because you can kind of get what the Disney response is.
But then also, like someone like DVC resale marker Derek, he used to work for Disney, but he will definitely give you a bigger picture view of what's good and what's not.
Exactly. All right, so Justin is asking, what advice would you give to someone who's interested in DVC but is skeptical about the timeshare and mortgage aspect of it? I totally get this, Justin. Sorry, Chair, go ahead.
No, I'm not understanding what the mortgage.
I think it's just meaning like having a loan to pay it back kind of situation.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So first of all, I would say, if you do your research about DVC, Justin, right? Like the biggest thing you notice about DVC, it's very different than the other timeshare programs, right? Because I am also skeptical of timeshares in general, right? Like DVC did something very different, I think, than most of the other timeshares out there. And the way that they administer their program is very different. But I think the biggest thing, people get scared with timeshares about getting locked into something, right? It's like, I'm stuck with this thing forever. Right. But like the thing about DVC is not only does it hold its value, and a lot of times it increases its value. Right now, obviously, we don't look at these things as investments, but they do tend to increase in value, and the prices goes up and down, of course. But the thing is, there's always a way out. Right. Like, so even if you were to buy and you were like, oh, man, this isn't for me, this isn't working out. Like, there's a way out with DVC. There's a bunch of different companies that will help you sell these. But, obviously, our sponsor, DVC Resale Market, will help you. But like it's not like you're going to be stuck with this contract and stuck with these dues forever if it's not something you want to stick with. Whereas, some other timeshare programs, you're stuck into a contract, you're not getting rid of that thing no matter what, And so I think that's a big thing. But I understand the quote mortgage aspect of it, the loan aspect of it, right? Like you have to make sure that this is going to make financial sense for your particular situation, right? And some people will take the loan on it and then pay the loan every month, and that's fine. A lot of people will pay pay cash for it if they can. Like but I understand of the monthly payment aspect of it can feel like it's a lot because you're paying for dues and you're paying for the contract and all that. So sorry, Trevor. I just kind of dominated that conversation.
Keep going. I just I'm waiting for you to finish your stream of thought. You're good.
I'm done. I'm done. You can go now. You can go now.
All right. I guess to Tom's point, there is a lot more flexibility to this than other timeshares. And, like Tom is, there's been points in my life where I've looked at different timeshares, not Disney related, but, the big differences are it's, they don't lock you in. Like you said, you're not buying into this. And it's like, well, you're stuck with this for the next, 50 or 20 years. You can always sell it. Renting it is very easy too. I know with other timeshares you can rent it out, but honestly, like it's Disney. Like like renting stuff out there is people are going to want it. Like, and I think that's
easy.
I think that's the thing at the end of the day is that, being worried about like, I would understand, if it was just like, I'm getting a timeshare at like a ski resort or something like that. It's like, those can be a gamble because ski resorts don't always thrive. It doesn't always work out. Disney has been Disney for a long time, and I guess to the end about being skeptical. Conversations that I've had in my household more than once, and actually even in this last week we were talking about this, is that I wish I got into this one sooner. I wish I'd known about this. Like it kills me when we were talking with Derek the last time we had him on. When he mentioned, he reminded us about when the Grand Californian first came out. Nobody wanted to buy
Nobody wanted it. Yeah,
and I'm like,
sell it. Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, I wish I was looking at this 8 years earlier because I would have seen that and I would have jumped on it. Like I would have. I wish I had done that because. Seeing what it is now, and this is the thing is that, Disney keeps growing, they keep expanding. So, any of us who have DVC right now, I don't think anybody with DVC is worried that we're going to hit a point where it's like, well, you can't even give away DVC points. Like,
No.
Disney is just getting more and more busy as time goes on. And it's not it's not as it's not as doom and gloom as people like to make it out to be. And further to that is, buying into DVC, prior to DVC, I was staying at the value resorts, and now I'm staying at the deluxe resorts. So, I mean, if you're that much into Disney, like being able to stay at the, just picking deluxe resorts, like it's so, I don't know, it feels so much better. Like it
does, yeah. It's a different experience. You get spoiled, right? Like you get very spoiled by it. Yeah.
Being spoiled at Disney is definitely it's different, right? Yeah.
I think I've told this story many times because we used to stay at all the value resorts too, and then our honeymoon we stayed deluxe, and it was like, oh yeah, we can never go back now. Like we can't go back after this because it's just a whole different experience, right?
Yeah, totally. Like it's and so there's lots of reasons to not or to take away that skepticism, and I guess let's touch on the mortgage part of it. Is so if you're buying in and you're kind of mortgaging it or paying off a loan or whatever, that doesn't stop you from renting your points if you're not going to use it as much as you thought you would. Sure. Like I guess that's the other thing too that people don't always think about is they're like, well, it's a bunch of money up front. Yeah, it is money up front. You'll have a loan and all that kind of stuff. But people, I see lots of people paying off their loans. Like I'm in different Facebook groups and, people are posting all the time about paying off their loans, which means that they're holding on to this thing long enough to pay it off. But then, the other side of it too is, if you let's say, you use it the first couple of years and then, your life situation changes and you can't use it, you don't have to sell it. You can actually, you can rent out the points and keep paying it down.
Yeah.
Because the cost of renting out the points can actually pay your dues and pay for the loan.
Depending on what your loan amount is. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
well, me personally, sorry, go ahead, finish your thought. I apologize.
Yeah. So, the end result of that is, it's not, there's so many different things that you can do with it that it's like, I'm not all that worried about, buying into it anymore. Now that I know what it is, it's like, if I go and buy my next contract, it's like, yeah, it's fine. Cause I know what it is. Right. So.
Yeah. And, I think one of the things that's underrated about it too is, and I think this is not something you necessarily get with all timeshare programs. It's like the flexibility of it, right? It's if you can't use it one year, it's not like you just lost out on it. You can bank points till the next year, or, if you want to do a bigger trip one year, you can borrow points from the next year and do a bigger trip one year and then, skip a year. But it's really kind of up to you how you want to do it and how you want to use it. And, for me personally, and this is just me personally, like we actually delayed buying it because we wanted to save up to pay cash for it. So we didn't have a loan. Right. So like that was for us. We didn't want to have the loan. So we never had a loan on ours because we specifically saved up for it. Right. To buy it. So it was a little bit different, but you can do the loan piece. Lots of people do the loans, right? Like it's not like an abnormal thing to do the loan because it is a big purchase, right? But I think the important thing is to understand is that it keeps its value, and in some ways increases in value. And then, if you need to, there's so much flexibility within it, like Trevor's saying, where you can rent out your points, you can sell the points if you need to, you can bank them if you want to. You can do whatever you want with them, really. It's very... while there are a lot of restrictions on the things you can do in DVC, it's pretty flexible program, overall. So, yeah. So, I mean, and to your point, like you said, Trevor, Disney's only getting busier, right? So the demand for these things is going to keep going up. There's a reason why they keep building resorts, right? There's, why they keep building these DVC resorts and why they, keep building new attractions and new things. I mean, as more and more people go, these things continue to stay valuable and in some ways get more valuable. So
yeah, and
I think that'd be my best pitch.
Yeah, and as we mentioned in a previous question, like they've already extended one of the resorts. So Old Key West had its contract extended, and so I'm getting the feeling as time goes on here, you're going to see more and more of these places get extended because it's like, Disney suddenly stop like selling DVC at Boardwalk, right?
Yeah.
Like if you think about it, it's like, you know, they've already made these contracts, you know, 20 plus years. Like from your point of view, are you worried about what you're going to be doing with this in 20 years? Because like you can sell it anytime between now and the next 20 years. Or, you know, even if you've had it for 20 years, have you gotten your value out of it?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway.
So, Kent from email.
This one's interesting.
Yeah. It is an interesting question. Yeah. Good. You read it.
Yeah. So Kent sent this in via email. He says, this might seem redundant to you guys, but as a listener who recently purchased my first contract, the amount of contract options was daunting. My question is, what current contract listed on the DVC resale would you purchase if you were buying your first contract? If Damon still refuses to go resale, then he should select which direct resort and how many points he would purchase. I think for listeners who are looking at buying, it would be helpful to hear what your reasoning for choosing one or the other. Okay.
Yeah. So this is an interesting question. I thank you, Kent, for sending this in. And by the way, congratulations on your first contract. That's great.
Yes.
So go ahead, Trevor.
Actually, no, you go ahead because I'm going to go look at some listings right now and see what looks good.
Well, truth be told, so for me, my first contract was a direct contract at Bay Lake, right? So, and we've talked about this before. And I have no regrets about buying my first contract direct, right? Because I do like the blue card benefits. But like, so I like having those blue card benefits. And, for me, I think the best strategy, if you like those blue card benefits, are to buy a direct contract from Disney and then any subsequent contracts from resale market, right? So if I were buying my very first contract, though, and didn't care about that, I think in hindsight, I probably would have gone with at least 100 to 150 point contract at Animal Kingdom. That is where we ended up where we end up staying most of the time. And, that probably will change over time. But, we really like staying in Animal Kingdom. And, for a lot of reasons. Number one, I talked about this earlier. You can almost always book a room at Animal Kingdom, less than 6 months out. Like, it's a huge resort. And it, honestly, not as popular because a lot of people feel like it's very far away from everything else, which I don't necessarily agree with. I talked about this before. It is further than everywhere else, and it only has buses. But I think the ambiance and the setting of the resort is worth that to me. So, for me, I probably would have bought an Animal Kingdom contract or a Saratoga Springs contract. Honestly, there's not a lot more bang for your buck than you can get than a Saratoga contract. I mean, that's probably where I'd go, dues wise and what they're selling for resale. So I think that's where I'd be at.
Yeah, I think, when I go back to when we were first looking at DVC, our initial thought was we were trying to get Grand Californian points, which, we figured out direct was not an option. Because our thinking at the time was we knew about direct and resale, but we agreed together that we wanted to do our first one direct because we liked the blue card benefits, even though they weren't like, it wasn't like, we have to have these. We were like, yeah, we kind of want to do our first one direct just to have that. Right.
Yeah.
But if I decided at the time that the blue card stuff was not of a huge benefit, I think we would have ended up looking at Saratoga because, to your point, we bought into the poly because of the fact that it was it was still being sold at the time direct. It was still like it was still a recent resort that they had that they were trying to finish selling off. If the poly wasn't available, we were looking at Copper Creek, and I didn't like Copper Creek, but that's because I know people love Wilderness Lodge, but I have like 50 Wilderness Lodge resorts near me, so I didn't want that.
I was going to say you're going to get some hate for that one. No, I'm just kidding. But
yeah, no. We didn't want Wilderness Lodge, and if I'd started looking into resale, yeah, Saratoga would have made the most sense because it is the most bang for your buck. And if I didn't, and this all predates us, having our first trip to the Poly. Like once we stayed at the Poly, we were like, this is where we're staying. Like it didn't,
Yeah.
it didn't really matter after that. But before that, I think we would have, like we would have been trying out the different resorts, and that was part of our conversation when we first bought our Poly contract. It's like, well, hey, we can try out other resorts and see what's up, and we were all excited about that. But then when we stay at the Poly, we're like, yeah, we're good. We don't need to go anywhere else for a while. So So I think if I was going to buy resale, and actually, like I was just looking at the price per point here, like it's crazy, the price difference between like Old Key West and Saratoga and other resorts. And that's because of the sheer volume of them, right? Like they're much bigger resorts, and the price point on them is way lower. So, if you're looking at, just how many points can I get, versus, guaranteeing that I'm going to stay at the same resort every time. I would definitely, like, if I was in the market for another resale contract, Saratoga is a pretty good bet in my opinion, or Old Key West.
Yeah, I'd also say too, by the way, that if you're looking to buy, like, now is the time for resale, right? Like resale prices are lower than they've been in quite a while right now. So I don't know specifically why, but like they are much lower than they were last year. So, you can actually, according to our friends over at DVC Resale Market, they're down 12% from last year. So, I mean, it's a buyer's market right now. So if you're looking to buy resale, like, now's the time to do it. Right.
Yeah.
So
I think I have to wonder if it's, part of it is right of first refusal, right? Like even Derek.
Well, they're not buying anything back right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So that the interesting thing about that, and I guess, this is, for people that haven't gone through this yet, how much you buy a contract for really at the end of the day is determined by right of first refusal. And the funny thing is that, so that's, Disney getting their opportunity to buy back the contract. And most of the time they'll do that if they feel, if a contract is listed too cheap, they'll just take it and then they eat the cost on it, and then they'll sell it at their price point, which, they usually make profit on it. The funny thing is that right now prices are trending downward because Disney doesn't seem too interested in buying contracts back. So that's actually making people list their contracts lower because they know, or like if you're wanting to, sell off your DVC, you list it at the lowest possible price because yours will get snatched up first. And because of the fact that Disney's not exercising right of first refusal, prices overall are going cheaper and cheaper at the moment. So for sellers,
can turn on a dime though. Can turn on a dime, right? Like
this is the funny thing is that at any point Disney can turn on and be like, nah, we're not doing this anymore, and they can start buying them back. But I think what Disney's doing right now is because they're lining up for, again, this is my speculation. Derek could, tell me I'm totally wrong because he knows this stuff better than me. But, because they're lining up for the new tower at Disneyland, I feel they don't care quite so much about the resale market in the moment. But once the tower gets released and all that kind of stuff, then you'll see, that's going to drive up interest because people are going to be like, oh, what about the tower? And Disney is going to use that as an opportunity when they get to that point where they're like, hey, we can also sell you, this resort or that resort. So I think as we get closer to when the tower is about to open, you will see right of first refusal pick back up again. So that's not to say, just go out and buy the first contract you see right now. But, to your point, Tom, I think this is a much better time to be buying if you are looking at resale. Then in 6 months, I think it'll, prices will be trending back upwards again. Well, that's my
no, you're right. And you don't have to worry about Disney snapping up a contract out from under you, right? Because they're just not buying contracts right now. So like you really, it would be, a lot of times people don't love resale because you buy resale and then sometimes you just don't get that contract because Disney buys it out from under you, right? But like, that's just not happening right now. And to your point, Trevor, though, like, I think it's partly because of the tower, but also because they have they're actively selling quite a few resorts right now. I mean, they have Riviera that they're still selling. They're still selling Grand Floridian, obviously Alani, because they're going to be selling that for the rest of the time. And then and then soon enough here, they'll be selling the towers. So, I mean, I think Derek said it on the last show when he was here. I don't think they've ever had this many actively, had this many things to offer at once. That actively selling direct contracts at this many different resorts. So like he said it, before, and it's true. Like they always really just had kind of like one or two resorts that they were selling at. Now they're really going to have at least 4 options. And then when Poly comes online, probably 5 options, assuming Grand Floridian and Riviera aren't sold out by them, which they probably. I mean, I don't know if they will be or not, but
I feel Grand Floridian will sell out before then because it wasn't
that,
like a full resort. So I can see them kind of trading one for the other, right? It's like, hey, Grand Floridian's gone, but we got Poly, which is right next door. So.
Yeah, they're making quick progress on that thing too. So yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, I mean, now's the time to buy. But thanks for the question, Ken. I appreciate that. It was a good question. So
yeah.
All right, so we mentioned the tower, and that's a good segue into this next piece here. So Disneyland has announced that, or I guess DVC has announced that the villas at the Disneyland Hotel, which is the new DVC resort at Disneyland, is going to be opening for early reservations on March 15th for DVC members and Magic Key holders, and then March 17th for everyone else. I will note, though, and I find this interesting, right? It doesn't seem like people are going to be able to use their points to make these reservations. It seems like these are cash reservations.
These are just cash.
Yeah, it's so strange to me, which makes sense because they haven't sold any DVC points and they haven't said when they're going to start selling them, right? And in order to book with points, they have to declare those rooms, right? So they haven't declared any rooms yet, so you can't really book with points yet. But it's interesting to me because they've announced that you can book there, but they haven't announced when they're going to start selling, right?
Yeah. But it kind of makes sense if you think about it, because they know when the tower is going to be done.
Yeah.
But you're not going to have, like you said, once they make points available and put them on the books and everything. Some people are going to book right away, but there may be a discrepancy between when the tower is done and when points actually become available. Sure, and it probably makes sense. And this is probably why it does make sense is, just offer it up cash to begin with. Let people, people will want to spend their money anyway. So, they know they can offer it up cash sooner than they can offer it up through DVC points. So, I guess why would you not? Like, why would you leave a hotel like that?
DVC
empty?
member just kind of bothers me. I don't know.
Well, I think if they didn't offer it to DVC members first, the outcry would be ridiculous, right? It's
I get that.
The thing is they're saying we know DVC members are here. We can't offer you points quite yet, but we can give you first crack at booking these rooms if you really want to stay here.
Yeah.
So, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. They're thinking of giving DVC members at least the first opportunity, even if it's not, points bookings right away.
Can we talk about these baller grand villas, by the way? Do you see these things?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
These things are awesome. I love it.
I mean, it's going to be an absurd amount of points, but like the balcony, the balcony on these grand villas, it looks like the fireplace is it's like an indoor outdoor fireplace. And you have this little nice setup, outside, and each room has like a little sitting area. And then there's a spiral staircase in the middle of the room that goes up to the second floor. I mean, it looks gorgeous.
You see the red Mickey statue right at the base of the stairs too, right?
Yeah. It looks, I don't know how much these are going to cost cash, but it's going to be a lot.
These things are bigger than my house.
Right? I'm just looking at these pictures and I'm just like, listen, the grand villas are all really nice, but this looks like almost like a different level. So
yeah, it's, and thinking about where this is, like, I'm assuming having one of these facing towards the parks will be the view is amazing. like you said, that outdoor fire or the balcony, multiple balconies,
balconies. Yeah. On the second floor and on the first floor, both.
Yeah.
Right.
You'll have so much space there. Yeah. They're just awesome. But even outside of, the grand villas are great, but I mean, all the rooms,
they look very nice.
Look really good. And I like that. I saw a couple of people commenting in various groups that, the random theming of this, it's like, you can't win.
Complaining for a while that they're taking all the Disney theming out of stuff, and then this is like very themed to me. Like
each type of room is themed differently, but they're all they've picked different IPs. So like you've got like Sleeping Beauty, Princess and the Frog. There's a Jungle Book themed room, which I like. That's awesome to me that they're actually doing that.
They have like the Tower Studios that they have at Riviera. They put into this resort too. They're two guest rooms. Like, so they're much smaller rooms, right? But they're going to be much lower points, obviously. But obviously that was a popular enough option that they decided to continue that on. But yeah, to your point, the studios are themed to either Sleeping Beauty or Princess and the Frog. The 1 and 2 bedrooms are either Princess and the Frog or Fantasia. So there's like, they theme this stuff to different animated stuff. But like, I mean, the whole room is themed to that. Like, what do people want? I don't know what people want anymore, right? Like, because they're complaining that they're going too modern and not theming things to Disney anymore. And then when they do theme things to Disney, you're like, oh, they're theming things to Disney too much. It's like, I don't know what people want anymore.
No, you see, this is exactly what I want, and I don't care what anybody else says. Because the thing is that it's, it makes you aware that you're in a Disney hotel, right?
Yeah,
it's part of the Disney bubble. If you're staying in one of these rooms, you're at Disney, but it's the same way that I like the Poly rooms. Is Poly's got some great theming throughout them. Now that they have the Moana stuff and there's Stitch in the rooms and stuff like that. It's when I'm staying in any of the Disney hotels, it's like I do want to be reminded that I'm there. And I know some people are like, well, but it's crazy over the top. It's like, yeah, Disney used to do that. I know, like the value resorts were a little over the top, but this is perfect to me. Like I think anybody who says that this, that they have problems with this is just complaining for the sake of complaining.
Sure.
Because these rooms are, it's the perfect mix of Disney and modern, because, they're still definitely very, very modern looking rooms. But they've also acknowledged the fact that, you have to have some Disney theming in these rooms.
Yeah, I agree. By the way, looking at the picture here, it looks like there's only 2 grand villas in this hotel. And it looks like maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 or 2 bedrooms. Or I'm sorry, not 6, 12. Sorry, there's one on each side there. So, between the 1 and 2 bedrooms, though, that's on the one side. I guess they're probably going to have some standard view ones too on the other side of the resort, I guess. So maybe double each one of those things. But
yeah, keep in mind, it is that L shape. So it will have, or because you're actually not seeing like there's more. There's more of the building that they're not showing in the first picture.
The first picture. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. No, you're definitely right about that. So, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. So there's probably, but the Grand Villas look like there's a very select amount of them, which is, understandable. And of course, if you're going to get a Grand Villa, no one's going to get a Grand Villa unless it has a theme park view, right? Like you expect a theme park view with a Grand Villa.
Yeah.
So, but listen, this looks amazing to me. I'm excited for this. I definitely want to stay here once I get myself out to Disneyland one of these days. I'd love to stay in one of these Grand Villas, but this is probably a little bit too much for my points.
I'm okay with just staying in a standard room.
The standard room looks great too. I'm not gonna say anything bad about the standard room. So, but okay. Let's do our ad, and then we can talk about some other things that are not DVC related. So, even though we're very heavy DVC this episode, which is great, but let's also do some other stuff.
All right, this week we have DVC Resale Market. DVC Resale Market, a World of DVC company, is the leader in the DVC resale industry with 13 former Disney Vacation Club guides and 3 former Disney Vacation Club quality assurance managers. If you're thinking of buying DVC, browse the largest selection of DVC resale listings anywhere, with DVC experts on hand 7 days a week to answer your questions. If you're thinking of selling, turn to the friendly professionals at DVC Resale Market, where over 98% of listings sell within 30 days. In 2021, DVC Resale Market helped over 4,400 families join or add on to their memberships. Go to dvcresalemarket.com or call 1-844-DVC-PROS, that's 382-7767. And when you speak to them, be sure to let them know the Welcome Home sent you. Also, I believe on their website now there's actually a drop-down where you can select.
Yes, there is. We got evidence of that. Select the drop-down.
So either select the drop-down or when you're talking to them, just make sure they know that you found them through us.
Very, very important that you do that. So even if you heard about them from somewhere else and also heard about them from us, select us still.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so let's see what else we got here. All right, I put this Disney Cruise Line thing on here for Damon, but since we don't have Damon, why don't we just skip this? Because I don't really care about this extra tier for Disney Cruise Line. I'm sure some cruise line people are going to be mad, but I don't care.
Yeah. You know me, I don't do cruise stuff, so.
Well, and plus you got to have an absurd amount of cruises to hit this top level. So, and truthfully to me, and maybe I feel like I need to ask some of my Disney Cruise Line podcast friends about this, but doesn't feel like you get a whole lot for getting all the way up to this to this level. But whatever. Let's talk about other stuff. So new dates are added for Disney After Hours, and also a new theme park for Disney After Hours. So which is exciting. I know you did the Disney After Hours event.
Yes.
Yeah. And are a fan of it. So
they've added. So it's EPCOT that's being added to.
EPCOT is being added,
Hours, right?
Yeah. Was it just Magic Kingdom before? And
I feel it was. They had that, and then they had the Typhoon Lagoon.
That's right. Yeah. But so now they're adding EPCOT and Hollywood Studios too, right? Or was Hollywood Studios there before? But say it on here.
I don't think Hollywood Studios was.
Trying to remember, it's been so long since they did the After Hours.
If there was an After Hours, I never considered it at Hollywood Studios.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but so to me, the big thing is EPCOT. That's a pretty big. That's a pretty big draw for an After Hours party. Which I'm just curious though. Sorry, I'm looking through this. So the things that are going to be open obviously are. Frozen Ever After, Cosmic Rewind, Ratatouille will all be there, which I guess that assumes that the World Showcase will be open, but I guess I don't know how
I would assume so.
The World Showcase will be.
I mean, I would assume it would be completely open. I think my big question is, are they going to have the virtual? They're not going to have a virtual queue still on Cosmic Rewind, right? They'll just have standby.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work for an After Hours party. I guess, you can have virtual queue because...
You can't, right? Yeah,
people are there for a ticket event. Yeah, it would just be standby, which makes sense because now that I think back to it, when we did it at Magic Kingdom, it was Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. There was no Fast Pass or anything. It was just line up for it.
Yeah, and by the way, for those that don't know what these events are, right? So Disney After Hours is basically like a limited ticket event where you pay, a certain amount, and I think it's saying the tickets are from $75 to $149, and you get access to entry to the park beginning at 6 p.m. 7 p.m. for EPCOT and Hollywood Studios, and basically, the idea is that you just will walk onto every ride because they're limiting the crowd so much that it's the attraction time should be next to nothing, and then plus they're going to have character meet and greets and your food and beverage included, like ice cream and popcorn and drinks and all that kind of stuff. So
imagine being able to just walk up to one of the ice cream carts and just be like, I want this, and they just hand it to you. that's what happens.
It's so funny because we did one of those dessert parties one time where they had a bunch of different stuff, right? So it was, they were making they were flambeing churros, and doing all sorts of crazy stuff. And then we'd eaten so much of the other stuff that we eventually got our way to where the Mickey bars were. And we were like, nah, we're good. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we ate way too much, and it's, you know, Mickey bar's a Mickey bar, right? Like, they're great, but it's like I ate all this other cool stuff first, and then now I'm here. But I mean, you know, to your point, to be able to go to an event and be like, give me 10 Mickey bars. I mean, I'm sure they have it limited. I'm sure they're going to give like tickets out, right? But like, give me a Mickey bar and not have to pay for it. You know, really, you just prepaid for it, right? But
So
it still feels different, right?
yeah, when we did the after hours events, there wasn't tickets for the Mickey bars and stuff. You could just walk up, but
So
the
it's
thing was,
unlimited. Like,
yeah,
they're doing unlimited, because I know I saw some people were talking about the DVC events, which are different, right? Because DVC events are free, right? So it's different. So these are probably, you can get as many as you want, I would think.
yeah. I mean, for the cost per ticket, like I guess this is the thing is, you know, for people who are unsure about this, the surface appeal of it is, or you know, the surface selling point is, you know, hey, come into the park later, you know, at 6 p.m. and then you're there until like, you know, midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. And a lot of people go, well, why would I want to do that if I'm there all day? The trick is if you're doing an after hours event, you don't go to the park like you don't treat it like a normal park day. And a lot of, like what Tom was saying earlier, is that a lot of people don't realize that these after hour events, you can get a lot done really quick because of the fact that they're ticketed and they're limited events. Like you don't have anywhere near the level of traffic that you have on a normal day in the park. So, but people always tend to overlook that because of the price point of these tickets. Because it, like, if you look at it, you know, what's the highest end? 175?
149, yeah.
149.
It's like you're buying a one-day ticket and getting to do everything, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And but that's the thing is, you know, people look at it and they go, well, you know, I buy a 10-day ticket and, you know, my cost per day in the park is a lot cheaper. It's like, yeah, but for this one day, and like I said, I can attest to this, having an evening in the parks where it's low traffic, and the fact that it's the evening and you're not having to deal with the sun.
That's a big part too. Yeah.
Yeah. For us that don't live in Florida, actually doing these nighttime events is way more appealing because you can get a lot more done at night and you don't get overheated the same way you do during the day. What we found was back to your point about, you know, the free stuff was, so in Magic Kingdom, and I feel this will be the same thing in either Epcot or Hollywood Studios, is you're covering a lot of ground really fast. Like, you know, we were going around the parks really fast. Being able to, it's kind of like running a marathon, you know, where they have the guys handing out the cup of water, but it's like you're going by the ice cream carts, and you're like hitting up a Mickey bar. Or in my case, you know, I usually grab the fruit bars because I don't do the dairy.
Yeah.
So you know, we're grabbing ice cream bars as we're going, and that's kind of keeping us moving through the event. So it's not that you like stop and get 10 of them, but it's like as you're making your way around the park, the fact that they offer free food as part of it is of great benefit because, yeah, you know, you're running around anyway. You're moving around a lot faster than you realize, and it's a lot of fun at the end of the day. Like, for anyone that's on the fence about these, I would really encourage at least going once, because we've done it. I think we've done 2 or 3 now, and they're always like some of the best experiences that we've had at Disney.
Yeah, because you're getting everything done in like a 3-hour window. And I mean, first of all, the parks are the best at nighttime anyway, right? Like, so, I mean, in my opinion, I love the parks lit up at night. And yeah, so.
Yeah, I still have.
Good.
I was just going to say, I still have pictures of me and my family standing in Adventureland, like not like in a corner Adventureland, like in the middle, like near Aladdin's flying carpets, and it's just empty, which
not a single person. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't see that. You don't get to see that on a normal day.
The only time I've ever seen that was when I stayed in Magic Kingdom till like 2 a.m. Right. And it was 2 a.m. and it was like maybe 1 o'clock in the morning, and like nobody was, like, everybody was gone at that point. So it is a really cool feeling. Right. And there was one other time also that we were the first people in Hollywood Studios. We had like an early breakfast thing that was before the park opening, so we were literally the first people that walked in. So, but it's interesting when that kind of experience. By the way, this article does mention Hollywood Studios was one that they were doing before, and it was one of the most popular ones, it says. So, So I guess I didn't remember that because I just didn't forgot. So
Yeah, I think I slept on Hollywood Studios because of the fact that they didn't offer quite as much as Magic Kingdom at the time.
yeah.
So
yeah.
so this was pre-COVID.
This was pre-COVID.
And yeah, when we looked at it, it was like, like it was kind of as Star Wars Land was opening up and stuff like that. And it was like, like that's it,
it's kind of funny though, Trevor, if you go on like the website for it, right? Because I was just looking, I was like, okay, well, what's open for this, right?
Mhm.
And like in the picture, they have Tower of Terror, right? But they don't list Tower of Terror as being one of the attractions that's available, which is weird, right? Like because it says, well, subject to change, attractions may include Alien Swirling Saucers, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, Smuggler's Run, Slinky Dog Dash, Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, and Toy Story Mania. But then it says and more. So like no Rock and Roller Coaster, which I know is down for refurbishment,
extended
right? So,
maintenance.
like,
Yeah,
that's fine. But where's Tower of Terror on there? Where's Star Tours? Where's like I feel like there's some things that are missing there, and it's kind of weird that it's missing. I don't know if that just means they're not going to be included or if they just didn't list those. They just kept those under and more.
Yeah,
odd to me.
I feel it's a priority thing, right? Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster and even Star Tours, they're not flagship rides anymore.
Tower of Terror isn't? You don't think?
No, because not since Galaxy's Edge opened up.
Well, there's like I mean,
they lead with Mickey and Minnie and Rise now.
Yeah, that's true. I'm impressed that Rise is open. I mean, if you want to go on Rise and not wait for a long time, I mean, this is a prime opportunity, right? Like you can even factor in the whole cost of what a Genie Plus it costs for the tickets, right? Like if you factor in like what a 1-day ticket would cost, what Genie Plus would cost for your party, and what some food would cost, it's a pretty good deal. Especially if you can get almost everything done in a couple hours, whereas on a typical park day you might be able to get 3 or 4 things done. You can get like everything done.
Yeah. And
it's not a bad deal, man. I know you don't need to be sold on this. I'm preaching to the choir on this. So.
You're right. Yeah. I'm as much for this as anybody else. And it to me, it's like people don't always think of it this way. You can spend like a whole day at your resort, just like lounge around your resort, save your energy, and then you can go in the evening, get a whole bunch of stuff done, and then your next day you're not completely wiped out. Whereas, most normal days at Disney, I don't know about you, but even when I tell myself I'm going to pace myself, I still end up like way, way more tired than I expected to be.
I would love to do another 2 a.m. at Magic Kingdom. I'd pay for that opportunity because that was, I'm telling you, doing being there, because it was extra magic hours from like, I want to say 11 to 2. Right back in the good old days. Right.
Yeah.
And man, like the atmosphere was amazing. We rode like Big Thunder like 4 times in a row, and Big Thunder at night is so much fun. And then, people were also like cheering and like, clapping, and it was like a whole thing, it was just, it had a different vibe to it,
Oh yeah.
In a good way though.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. People are on a different level when it's an after hours party.
100%. Yeah. Dude, it was such a good time. I would so pay for that opportunity again. Although I can't really do it anymore with having a 5-year-old. It's like, she's not going to stay up till 2 a.m. Like, so.
Well, but it'll come back around, like I said, we did it, I think the first one we did, our son was 11. And we were worried that he was going to make it, but he I think, the Mickey bars kept him on enough of a sugar high that
that's why they give out the Mickey bars for the sugar high piece. Just to keep you awake. Right. So that's really funny. All right. So I think that's good for that. I mean, like, look, this is, I think, positive news. I think a lot of people like the after hours. Even if you hate paid events, like, these are some interesting things. So.
Yeah,
man, this next thing, I'm not even joking with you. I'm thinking about taking a trip to Disneyland just for this.
This surprised me because we had talked about, we were speculating about what was going into the Hyperion Theater.
Oh yeah.
Previously, and I'm really surprised that they're going with the Captain America musical from the Hawkeye show.
So they're presenting this as being temporary, though, right? So like
it is
just,
yeah.
And this might just be the bridge to whatever's next, right? So if you haven't watched Hawkeye, right, like I guess I can explain this really quickly, right? So if you didn't watch Hawkeye, basically the opening episode of Hawkeye is sitting in a Broadway musical, which is basically a retelling of like the Battle of New York from the Avengers movie, right? Mm-hmm. And like I've read before that the creators of the show basically were like, how can we create a musical that will annoy Clint as much as possible, right? Like, and that's the idea here. And it's like really cheesy and really like the costumes are terrible, but like the song that they sing is you know, kind of an earworm. And my sister and I have this funny thing where we text each other back and forth all the time. Like we'll text the gif of Captain America saying I can do this all day from that musical, right? Because it's really funny. Like they obviously made this musical to be cheesy and ridiculous. So the fact that
it's a meme in and of itself.
It is. Yeah. The fact that they're bringing this to the park, it's funny because this article seems to think that Disney is taking this seriously and making it like a serious thing. I don't think they all are at all. I think that they know that this is silly and stupid and they're doing it for that reason. By the way, they also mentioned that it's a short 1-act musical. So it's not like this is like a, 20-minute, even a half-hour thing. It's probably like 10 minutes in and out, right? So, it's probably just them doing that scene from the show, I would assume.
Probably. And the thing is, you talk about, a serious production. Like when they had Aladdin in the Hyperion previously, it was not serious. I think that's the thing that people need to understand is, these like it like people are legitimately good. Like the performers are fantastic in these shows, but the shows themselves are like, you're in a theme park. Like you're not going for like a high level Broadway production. You're going for a theme park production. Right. So
yeah.
It's meant to be funny. It's meant to be not serious. And I love the fact that, they're bridging that line between it's that meta joke, right? It's
it is.
We had it in the show and now it's becoming real because of the show, right? Yeah. Like
I mean, if you haven't seen Hawkeye and you like Marvel stuff, just go watch the first episode just for that part, or even go. It's the end credit scene right at the very end too. Like you can watch like the whole song because it is hilarious, right? Like all the characters that they have in it are like really badly done, right? Like and purposely so, right? Like they're purposely making this a bad production, right? Where it's like the Hulk is basically wearing like a blow up green outfit. Like I mean, and all the characters look ridiculous. Like Thor looks terrible. I mean, it's the whole thing is really. I mean, they made like Ant-Man into like a really young dude. Like it's really weird and funny. And go ahead, sorry.
It's a bad retelling. It's imagine if you ask somebody who watched the Captain America movie like once to retell it, right?
Yeah. Like it's just man, honestly, it was our favorite thing from Hawkeye. Like it made us laugh constantly from watching that show. So the fact I just love that they're bringing this as a 1-act thing. And by the way, this is coming summer 2023. So like it says, a short 1-act musical. So like I said, it's probably going to be very short. I'm assuming it's going to be no longer than like 10 minutes. Just my guess.
No, okay. I feel they could probably do 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah, but they're saying it's 1 act though. Like, I mean, that just tells me that they're just gonna literally just do that because if you watch the first episode of Hawkeye, they only show you really a portion of it, right? Like you can see the whole thing later, like in the end credits, but they only show you a portion in the first episode. I mean, they created an entire like Broadway musical number around this, right? So that they only ended up showing for like a minute, I feel like on the show, right? But yeah, I think it's hilarious they're doing this. I love it. I mean, no joke. My sister was like, "Let's go to Disneyland. We need to go see this." And I'm like,
I mean, it's one of many reasons to go to Disneyland.
Oh well, that's fair. Yeah. That's fair. So, this next thing though, too, makes all kinds of sense to me, and I kind of believe that this is going to happen. So, this is a rumor. I got it from WDWNT. They got it from WDW Magic. So again, take all this with a grain of salt, right? Mm-hmm. So the rumor is that a meet and greet for Mirabel from Encanto will open later this year at Magic Kingdom and would replace the Merida meet and greet. The one that's right across from Cosmic Rays, right in Magic Kingdom there. I think this makes total sense to me. Encanto, I don't know if you saw this, Trevor, but like most streamed titles from last year, like Encanto destroyed everyone like by a lot. Let me see. It was most streamed movies last year. But yeah, I mean, Encanto is still incredibly popular. My daughter absolutely loves Encanto. And so like, I think that this is kind of a no-brainer. Like, no offense to Brave, but like Merida is just not nearly as popular. Yeah.
You know, the thing is, like, yeah, Brave, it was kind of, I think it was a bit of a victim of bad timing when it came out.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like because I remember when it came out, it was kind of like there was kind of a stream of Disney movies that came out, and none of them hit the same level as like Frozen. Right.
Yeah, no, totally true.
And that doesn't take away from the fact that they're good movies and all, but yeah, you know, I don't think Merida quite has the same level of popularity as Encanto does right now. You're absolutely right. You know, Encanto is the newest thing. It's, you know, why would Disney not do this? Because it'll, I mean, the only problem is it'll go from like, you know, we eat at Cosmic Rays, you know, usually once or twice when we're on our trip, and you know, you can always see like you can see across the way to where the Merida meet and greet is, right?
Yeah,
and it's usually not very busy. Like, you know, it's, you know, you'll see people going in there and like there may be a little bit of a lineup, but it's never like around the corner kind of thing.
Yeah,
this is like you're saying, you know, because of the fact that it's Encanto, you'll have a lineup going all the way back, like around by the castle.
Oh,
for
this will be huge. Like,
yeah,
that's already like a really bad spot right there, right? Like that line going up it's a fairly narrow walkway, right? So like that line would get, like you said, it would go all the way to the castle, if not further. I mean, yeah. So last year in 2022, I found this in 2022, Encanto led with 27 billion minutes streamed. Like, and the next closest was 11 billion. Like, okay, it's crazy, right? Yeah. Like, so I mean, it just absolutely, I mean, dominate. Now, I think that was just for animated things, but still, I mean, that's a huge thing, right? Although what this says, yeah.
Sorry for the Merida fans, but she'll still be in the parade. So
yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like my daughter likes Merida, but it's like Encanto is way bigger to her, right? So like she would freak out if she met Mirabel, like straight up freak out. So like, I mean, if they could,
hey, I totally forgot there was an episode.
What?
You're alive?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I didn't have my phone on me, and I just kind of forgot. Just plain forgot. Yeah. Wait, so I got. Where are you guys? I'm trying to find out where we are. What number are we on?
We're on number 10.
Oh my goodness, this is ridiculous. So
we
far,
were just talking.
God, I said so far away. Wait, did everyone wish you happy birthday and sing happy birthday to Tom?
No, we did not do that.
No, we talked about it before the show, but we just kind of got into it.
No, it's Tom's birthday.
It is.
Wait, I got to get to the questions real quick though, and then we can pick back up.
Wait, so you're gonna do like
I'm a speed round? Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to. I feel bad that I was downstairs and I didn't have my phone. And I was like, wait, you know, like that nagging feeling. I was like, wait, what time is it?
It was something I was supposed to do. Yeah.
They're like, it's 1:30. I'm like, oh no. Ran all the way up the stairs and like, oh my goodness, I forgot. Wow. Okay, hold on. So I'm gonna answer these all really quick though. As a person still on the fence and still researching what use year. I don't care about use years. They mean nothing to me. Buying DVDs in the future, but want to rent before I buy the Skyliner is a big draw. Which one do you recommend? Riviera, easy. What advice would you give someone who's interested in DVC but skeptical about timeshare and the mortgage aspect of it? It's not the same. It's worth more money.
Yeah.
This is redundant, you guys. Yeah, this is redundant, you guys, listeners, blah, blah, blah. Damon still refuses to go resale. Absolutely. Then he could select which direct resort and how many points would he purchase. I mean, like if I had to buy right now, I guess. Yeah, I guess I'm buying Riviera. Like, what else am I buying? And how many points? I mean, the points are just dependent on money. So it just depends how much money I had at that point. All right, DVC news. Don't care about Disneyland. Okay, add cruise line membership tier. Yeah.
We didn't even talk about this because you weren't here, and I put that on there for you because I know.
Which one? The membership tier?
Yeah, the new Castaway Club membership.
Dude, I don't see myself going on a Disney cruise until I have grandkids. I'm going to be honest with you. They're too expensive. I'd rather just try a different cruise, especially if my kids are like, in their 20s. Okay, so skip that. New theme park, new dates added for after hours events. I mean, I guess this is kind of cool, right? An Epcot
be
one.
Asleep for most of them though, but
I mean, I bullied up for the other one, so I mean, I would definitely bully up for one of these. But okay, cool. Marvel's fake Captain America, don't care. And then here we are.
Yeah, here we are.
Look, that was easy.
Yeah, you did that very quickly. Yeah,
that was easy. So
yeah,
Mirabel to replace Merida. I love Merida though, but I get it.
Merida's good. Yeah,
I get it. I just feel like a good Merida, like the hair just makes it right. That wig or hair, whatever we got going on, just makes it. I don't know. I like it. I think she's a great character. I think it's a great movie.
I agree.
I don't think I liked Encanto as much, but I would agree with you that like these days, Merida's too long in the tooth, man. That's a long time ago, that movie.
It is. Yep. And it's just not as popular. I mean, my daughter doesn't really know Merida that much. But she knows Mirabel, and she loves Mirabel. Yeah, I mean, I think this would be hugely popular. I think they'd be kind of stupid not to do it, honestly.
But I don't understand why we just can't have everything.
Yeah, just add another one somewhere else. Yeah, I get it.
Like, why we just can't have everything? Like, I don't know. That's kind of the way I feel. Like, listen, I would like it more for like replayability, like re-going. It's like, man, just make things like on a different schedule. Like, okay, so we get Merida, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Mirabel, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and let that stuff happen. Like, that's the thing that's always been interesting at Disney for me is like, they kind of just replace things, but why can't we just have it all on a different schedule? And I think that would be fun because it makes it worse. Like when something goes away for good rather than if you just missed it because it wasn't your day, but you can go back and see it. I don't know. That's just me though.
Really what they need to do here, right, is add a Columbia Pavilion to
you're preaching to the choir. I agree with you, man.
Then you throw Mirabel there. That's like easy, right?
Mm-hmm. The food would be good too. Like, I could get down with that.
Yeah, I mean, there was talk for a while that they were going to do that, right? But with how successful Encanto's been, I mean, I feel like it's a no brainer, right?
I didn't even think Encanto was that good, to be honest with you. Like, it was cool, but was it like the story great? No,
I think it's more the music, man. It's more the music.
I could see that. I mean, I said this before. I thought it was going to be a ripoff of Xanth. It wasn't really ish, right? Like, I don't know. Like, it just, I don't know. I didn't love it, but it was cool looking. And I think the theming was pretty cool, right? There was a lot of that. So it gets a little bit of a pass.
I think the staying power so far of this movie has been all about the music. I mean, they literally made a whole thing on Disney Plus just with the music, right? Yep. And I mean, that album was like, I mean, the soundtrack for that movie was like #1 for like an insane amount of time. I mean, I think some of those songs are still in the top 10 of most of songs played. So, I mean, I mean, I think it's a no-brainer. I think we're going to see a lot more Encanto stuff coming to the parks, honestly. They're just kind of slow to do this kind of stuff. I mean, Frozen was a huge hit, and how long did it take them to do Frozen stuff?
They ruined one of the greatest rides, though, to do it. But yeah,
that nobody went on. That always had a 10-minute wait.
I mean, it wasn't that like the cool part about it too, though.
That it always had a 10-minute wait. I mean,
like that.
Well, it was finding that hidden gem. Is what it was, right? It was like you went back and there's a ride here. It's like, how come nobody knows about this, right? Yeah. That's what it felt like.
Yeah, I did like that ride. I will say the technology of Frozen is pretty cool, though, right? Like, but I don't know. We're talking food now. Go ahead.
Well, we can, but I also wanted to bring up. You had posted to the group the Muppets video of Walter.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, so we had talked about that after you left last episode, actually. I didn't put it on the rundown, but you just kind of brought it up. But it's funny that you discovered it later. But,
yes.
But we were speculating if that means anything, if they're going to do something.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it seems like a one-off, right?
Why? Here's my thing, though. Like, you have Universal building all these new parks. Like, why don't we have a Muppet park? But I just don't think Muppets are that popular. Like,
that's the problem
for kids. Yeah.
That's the I think part about it. I think like Muppets like demographic is like, I want to say 30 plus at least, right? Maybe higher, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
because how well did the Haunted
being
Mansion
generous.
do though?
I don't know.
I don't think
you
it's
said
good
I'm being
as it should
generous,
have.
Trevor. Are you saying 40 plus? Are you think,
Yeah, I'm thinking it's 40 plus.
I mean, you're probably not wrong. I mean, they were.
Wait, how old are you today, Tom?
I'm not saying that on the podcast.
Why?
I don't want to throw my age out there. Nobody else on the show has said what their age is.
I have many of times.
Have you?
Yeah.
I think you've given ranges. I don't think you've said your actual age.
I'm 49. Like that's fine by me. Like what are you finding out about my age?
I don't know. I don't know.
Wait, are you 40 yet?
I'm 38.
Okay. There you go. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yes, happy birthday. And I feel older now.
Well, why? Because I said I was 38. I mean, you guys knew what age I was. I mean,
I kind of forgot where it was exactly.
I've forgotten as well.
Well, listen, my mom called me this morning,
and she didn't know how old you were?
No, she didn't. She actually was like, I have to do the math and remember, on your date of birth and your year and figure out how old you are. And I was like, really? You don't know how old I am? And she was like, well, to be fair, she's like, I don't remember how old I am most of the time and have to do that math. And I was like, it's fair.
That's understood.
Yeah, it's fair.
Wait, okay, so hold on. Are we doing food, then the ride? Are we doing the ride, then food? What are we doing here?
I don't know. What do you want to do? You want to do the ride? I mean, you want to talk food? Or I mean,
we can talk food as long as we don't make it super quick. I mean, as long as we make it kind of quick, yeah.
Okay.
People.
All right, let's do food and then we'll end with the ride. How's that?
Yeah, so we got two food things, right? What is this Narcoossee, man?
You never been to Narcoossee's?
Nah, what is it?
Oh, man, I love Narcoossee's. So this is the restaurant that is over the water at Grand Floridian. And my wife and I have eaten there several times. In fact, I want to say we ate there in 2021, during the weird pandemic times.
I don't do seafood, though. Is it a little seafoody?
There's a fair amount of seafood there. I don't do seafood either, Damon. So I always get some sort of chicken there. Or actually, I want to say maybe
looks like there's a good pork chop.
Yeah. They have great food there, and the views are great. I mean, honestly, the best waitress we've ever had at Disney was at Narcoossee's. Incredible service there. And so it's been closed. They've been refurbishing it, and now they're coming out with a new menu. Which look, I love that they're going back to like the specialized breads. Like, that bread looks really good.
Yeah.
An artisan sourdough. Yeah. Give me that.
Looks small though.
Again, though, it's the pictures. It's just,
it must be, but it looks small.
Yeah,
like
but it's
marble.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's really just a tiny bread. It's a bite-sized piece of bread, right? Like,
pop it in your mouth. Next
thing, yeah.
So yeah, I see bisque, which I won't eat. I see beef and ricotta tortellini, which I won't eat. I see ocean charcuterie, which I won't eat. I see black and red fish. I won't eat. I'm just going down the list, man, and there's not a lot here outside of this pork chop.
I will say they are more oriented towards seafood at this restaurant. Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you guys remember that where I got my wife that like ridiculous like bell cake for her birthday. Do you remember that cake I got a couple years ago? We had that at Narcoossee's. So like it wasn't from Narcoossee's, but it was from the Grand Floridian Bakery, and it was that dinner at Narcoossee's where we ate that. So yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
All right. So that's Narcoossee's. But the next one is interesting because this, again, I think Lee posted this up too. So this is the guide to
Flower and Garden,
which I'm still so very torn on whether I want to go for one day or not. I have a feeling I'm going to end up here for a day, which is going to end up probably being, I figure with food and tickets, it's going to probably cost me a G to go.
Say about $1,000. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. But I still might do it. Have
you done Flower and Garden before?
I have. Yep.
Because my wife and I were talking about this, and we've done Flower and Garden a couple times. I almost kind of like Flower and Garden better than Food and Wine. Flower and Garden's got its like just the atmosphere of Flower and Garden is. I
would agree with you. They have the butterfly tent.
Feel the same.
Yeah, they usually have the butterfly tent. Yeah, I'm assuming they have it this year. Yeah.
All right. So food wise, right? We got a whole bunch of stuff. Again, the thing that I don't love about this, though, even though I just literally said that it would be fine for characters, is I don't love when you do food in two phases. I don't love that because I see it and then I get very upset.
Where you miss out if you aren't there at the right time?
Yeah, like everything that's March 1st through April 8th, like I'm out.
That's exactly
everything
why
that's April through May
with the characters.
I'm out. Yes, it's exactly opposite. But for food, it's like it feels different. Food
it's
makes
really
me
funny.
madder.
You just completely contradict it.
Well, I mean, it is characters versus food, though. So let me
totally different ball game. You're
but
right.
Is this more because they're trying to do like seasonal stuff? Like, is that really what it is?
It must be.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, if I see a character and I don't get to see them, like, I go, all right, whatever, man. Like, either I'll see them next time or it's a photo op, like, whatever. But I still think they should be mixed up so that it's a different vibe each time rather than just totally killing them all together. But here, it's almost like you're showing me pictures of things I really want to eat, and it's more annoying. So
that's fair.
Anyway, so
I'll tell you just to start off here that I want this chilled potato and leek soup. That sounds delicious.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about anything except stuff that's
because it's
from
only
the summer
March,
solstice. I'm only talking
March
about
1st through April 8th.
Yeah,
is that why?
I'm only talking about May through July 5th.
All right, so let's get to those. Let's see what we got.
They got some bread. They got some barbecued pork tenderloin. Yeah, okay, good.
I'm
good.
totally fixated on these fried cinnamon roll bites with the frosting and bacon.
No,
we had those, Trevor, didn't we? When we went,
is that what I thought? It was donuts that we had. They weren't cinnamon rolls.
I don't know.
It looks the same to me, man. I don't know.
This corn creme brulee, I'm about that.
That sounds good too. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely.
Where's that one at? Where's that at? Oh, okay. That's at the summer solstice menu. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I would rock with that.
That's new this year.
Yeah. I usually look at things that are new as well, just because it's a little bit. Again, I don't like to stuff that I've already had before is great, but you only have so much space to eat.
Yeah, Trevor, I think we had these fried cinnamon roll bites because they looked the same to me.
I could have sworn it was donuts that we had, but
they might have been donuts, but I feel like they were shaped like this. I mean, maybe it's just a semantics question, right?
I guess I don't remember them being cinnamon, but maybe
Fruit Loops shake.
Oh yeah, that's a returner.
Yeah, I usually don't mess with drinks, but that might be something I'd be interested in. The citrus blossom, I love citrus, but then you get me with shrimp, which I don't mess with. I don't love blueberries. I do like brie, but I don't love blueberries. There's nothing really there. What's this orange bird chicken sandwich? Is that what that is? Like, what is this?
Where are we at now? You're going so fast here.
Citrus blossom at the Odyssey.
Citrus blossom.
It's just down from the.
But where's the chicken sandwich he's talking about?
What's that under? It's a little bit underneath. It's the pictures. They must be for the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about from Florida Fresh then.
Oh, that must be a fish slider. Okay.
Yeah, but you know what though? There's grilled street corn.
Yeah.
That I love street corn. I don't know if you ever had like street corn, but I love street corn. That looks pretty good. Where they put spicy corn chips on the outside. I've never seen it like that before. Florida strawberry shortcake looks pretty good.
What makes it a Florida strawberry shortcake?
Maybe it's strawberries from Florida. Maybe they're sourced locally. I don't know.
Could be.
Maybe that's what my guess is, or maybe because it's like a different kind of looking. I don't know. Is there a special kind of strawberry shortcake in Florida?
Tangerine soft serve ice cream. Oof. I'm
good
about
or bad?
That.
Is that good or bad?
Yeah, no, that's good. I'm about that.
They got their traditional pineapple skewer with that seasoning on it that Trevor, you talked about before.
Mm-hmm. It's okay.
How much is it though? I feel like it's.
I mean, you can go buy Taijin seasoning at the grocery store, and it'll probably cost you about as much as one of these pineapple skewers.
That's what I'm saying.
Just try it at home. Yeah.
I do need to talk about though because I've had this the toasted pretzel bread topped with Black Forest ham and melted Gruyere. That is delicious. Like, just look at that thing.
No, not for me, man.
Why not?
Just not for me, man.
All right. I mean, I've had it. It's delicious. It's really, really good. I mean, also, I'm a fan of potato pancakes too. So, I mean, the whole Germany booth for me is I'm down with beef strudel too.
Yeah, I could skip pretty much that whole thing, to be honest with you.
Trevor, you too? Dairy.
Yeah, I'm actually already down at the
muffaletta though. I love me a muffaletta. I do muffaletta panini.
Magnolia Terrace at the American Adventure. This is actually like
bananas Foster bread pudding. I'm down with that too.
Yeah, I want to stop there for all of this. The crawfish pie would be my thing.
No. Yeah, I mean, no, that muffaletta sounds good. Yeah. I mean, I love bananas Foster. I don't know about you guys. I love bananas.
Yeah, this hummus trio looks good though. Black garlic hummus sounds great. Like, I'm a garlic guy. Like, I'm about that.
Yeah. Garlic. What about the orange blossom saffron cake?
I don't like saffron.
It looks very pretty. I don't know how well it would stand up.
It does look very pretty. I don't know though. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not a big saffron fan either. Oh man, let's see what else we got.
Refreshment port, soft serve waffle,
you all the way
peanut butter jelly and swirl. Yeah,
wait, did you just skip over La Fresca?
Yeah, completely? I did because I don't need to eat oxtails, so I'm good. Thanks.
It looks good though. I'm not gonna lie. It looks really delicious. Oh, what about this cake right here? This chocolate maple whiskey cake. That looks delicious. This is Canada.
The taste of whiskey is not preferable to me. I could pass on that.
Yeah, but it's you're not really like.
Yeah, I do though.
You know when there's alcohol in your dessert.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm down further. I'm down for the soft serve waffle cone peanut butter jelly.
What about did you skip over the honey bistro with the chicken and waffles? I mean, that looks amazing.
Where's the honey bistro?
Did I go further than you? Where were you?
You went further.
Okay.
I got to make a special shout out though before we get too far. The shrimp scampi poutine. We actually talked about this on the Discord a little bit. Just okay.
Just stop it or no?
It's not even poutine at this point. They threw cheese curds on because it's like, well, cheese curds, that's poutine, right? No, nothing else on it is even close. And it's like, I don't want shrimp on my fries. Like they're just loaded fries with random stuff on them. And I said this as well, and I'll repeat this, is that I feel like there's an internal bet somewhere in Disney that like they're trying to figure out the most ridiculous thing to throw on fries and call it poutine. And
until Canadians start complaining.
Well, no, until people are in general are just like, ew, gross. Like I feel like they're just trying to outdo each other in the weird area.
Did you guys look at Trowel and Trellis? Trowel and Trellis? No?
I'm at the Impossible Place, man. Are you going too far now? Are you going too far?
No, the Impossible Place is Trowel and Trellis.
Okay, yes. I would eat the Korean short rib, even though I don't eat beef because it's impossible. I would do it.
It's plant-based, yeah. It's plant-based.
And the chocolate cake I definitely would eat. I don't know about the middle one, maybe.
Lumpia? Lumpia is good.
Maybe.
The chocolate cake is black currant ganache, mixed berry compote, and chocolate ice cream. It looks good to me, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to force me to actually go, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's what you're hoping for. We need a report. Chicken and waffles, dude. Chicken and waffles, crispy honey brine chicken.
I don't love chicken and waffles, but I'll do it.
Yeah, but
like, it's not super high on my list, but I definitely would do this.
Yeah, this is honey brine chicken, honey sweet cornbread waffle with whipped honey butter and spicy honey. That sounds amazing and looks amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I would 100% eat that. I'd eat several of these probably.
I feel like the flatbread is a little too much. I feel like it would be too sweet.
So mascarpone, honey caramelized onions, blueberry gastrique, prosciutto, honey whipped goat cheese, arugula, honey vinaigrette, and bee pollen. Oof.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a little extra.
That is a lot, man. What is the bee pollen? Are those tiny little flowers that are on there? Is that what are the tiny flowers?
Don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, it's interesting.
Well, bee pollen is actually like dust. Like it
is, right? Like, but what are the flowers?
Wow, this list is really long.
We're
almost through it.
Yeah, we're almost through it. I mean, some of these we can skip over. Usually towards the end, they just get to be like beverages, right? So
spicy hot dog with pineapple chutney. I don't do hot dogs though.
I would do this. Sorry, I just jumped down to Mexico. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you complain about me jumping, then you're jumping even further. Okay, I would definitely rock with that Mexico thing.
Yeah, the taco vampiro.
Oh no, I don't do beef, but I did the
tacos vampiro is good.
You had that. Yeah,
it is very good. Glad that's back.
They've had that one for a while. The quesadilla, though, what is it? House-made squash blossoms, bacon, onion, zucchini, and cheese.
I'd rock with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Lotus House. I definitely do chicken skewer. I don't do crab wontons, and I don't do vegetable dumplings. It's kind of tough for me here, even though I would like to do more of this food. The skewer looks good, though.
The skewer looks delicious. Yeah.
My kids are.
You would hit up this stuff, though.
I told you, my kids are all mad. They hate doing food like this. They've all were like, I hate eating like this. Like, I just want to sit down and eat a meal. Like, I don't want to do this. Oh, it makes them very mad.
That's so
very
fun.
mad. So I don't know what we're going to do this year. Like, we're going to have to like have a meal and then like walk around and taste other things, or like taste things and have, I don't know what we're doing yet.
You see, my kid actually, he liked doing some of the food and wine stuff when we were there in November. But yeah, I get what you mean. Is there was a point where it was just like, I just want to sit down and eat.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, he was a little more willing to humor me from time to time.
All right, so Primavera Kitchen is Italy. They have a Caesar salad of some sort, a spinach tortellini, and a chocolate hazelnut pudding with cookie crumble, which is basically like that dirt stuff, that you used to make when you were younger. This is pudding with like the crushed
worms and dirt.
Yeah. Which, listen, I'm not against. I'm all for hazelnut pudding with some cookie crumble on it. I'll eat that. That sounds good to me. I mean, I'd also probably eat the Caesar salad thing, although it has shrimp in it. I take that back. I'm immediately out with the shrimp in there.
You can eat around the shrimp.
No, we cannot.
Or you can just eat the shrimp because
the shrimp juice is all up in it.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, this is a thing you've had though, Trevor. The frushi. My wife loves the frushi, the fruit sushi. Right? You have it when we were there? I thought you did.
Oh yeah. We stopped for frushi.
Yeah, and that's always, I know, a very popular one. So.
Mm-hmm.
Trevor, we're just gonna. Trevor, Damon, were you gonna say something? I thought I heard him in the background. Okay. I don't see anything else in this Japan one though. Although I think, Trevor, you'd probably eat all of these.
Yeah, the Hanmai sushi looks fine. It's pretty standard sushi.
Okay, fair enough. Let's see. France. We've got croissant with goat cheese, herbs, and roasted garlic. I'm not a big goat cheese fan. I am a big croissant fan though. I don't know about you guys, but
I like goat cheese.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any of these other things? What am I seeing? Gnocchi? I'll take a gnocchi. I like that. With some beef. Oh, that looks fancy. Did you see that fanciness? This looks like big piece of beef on there. And then there's a chocolate tart and then some sort of beignet. That's pretty much it.
Caramelized beignet.
That's pretty much it. So, all right. Yeah. Anything else we want to mention here? Now Damon's like having to figure out to do this. He's got to go now because he's seen all the food and he wants to eat it. So
yeah, I feel that way. Yeah.
All right. So should we spin the wheel then? Should we spin the wheel of of rides? Even though we're at 142 here, and like we should probably wrap it up.
Yeah.
Well, let's see,
wheel, man.
All right.
Yeah, do it. All right, let's see what we get.
All right, let's see what we got here.
This is so terrible. This noise.
Oh, I love it. You don't like? Why didn't you like this?
Because I know it's fake.
It's not fake. What are you talking about?
Send me a picture of the wheel then.
I've got a big wheel right here.
Yeah.
Don't know what you're talking about, Damon.
Well, we did actually spin a wheel, and the result was Navi River Journey. So,
which Damon's probably happy about because Damon loves Navi River Journey. So
I do. So I think that So. Doesn't someone have background on this? Who's doing the background on this?
Were you supposed to do background?
I don't know. So
what kind of background do you want? What kind of background?
I don't know when it opened. I mean, about it, how long it is.
All right, I'll give it to you. Hold on. Just give me a second here.
This is where Tom will cut this out, so that's okay.
I mean, yeah, maybe. But it opened in May 26, 2017. Mm-hmm. All right, we got that.
How long is it?
It doesn't actually have how long it is here. I don't have a length.
Too short. That would be a length.
Too short.
So this is actually my favorite ride in Avatar.
Yeah, this is your favorite ride there. I will say so. Maybe the best animatronic at all at Disney is here, right?
When it's up and working, absolutely.
When it's working, yeah. If you remember, one of my favorite things before Pandora opened, remember when they released that kind of creepy video of the face of the shaman, like talking? And everybody was freaked out by it.
Just the head.
Yeah, it was just the head and it was talking. And everybody was like, wow, that looks really real and kind of creepy. Do you guys remember that? There was the whole promotional thing. Yeah.
Okay.
I remember.
Yeah, so this is, again, I enjoy this ride an awful lot. I think that the way that they've themed it is absolutely wonderful. I think there's a few things that I don't necessarily love about it. And I think that's seeing the boats in front of you. I think it could have been done a little bit better. I think that if we made the turns just a little bit, or maybe even kept the amount of people per hour down a little bit more. But overall, I think the use of the screens and the projection screens right at that time was great.
Well done. Yeah.
Yeah. I really, really liked it. Again, as I say this all the time, this is my favorite Avatar ride. I think it's very relaxing. I think it's cool, like both figuratively and literally in there. And I just find it to be a really well done ride that kind of what I want from Disney, right? When I talk about like what I'm looking for in Disney, it's about being immersed. And I feel like this ride is currently probably the most immersive ride for me in terms of setting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean the ride's nothing special. I get it, right? You're in a boat.
Yeah,
it's a boat ride, but I think it's very immersive. I enjoy
Pandora, Small World.
Yeah. I mean, but again, you feel like you're there. It's one of those things that makes you feel really like you're there.
Yeah, it just, it makes you almost wish that it was like a little bit longer.
Absolutely.
Like getting or having the boat like stop in the middle of the ride, I feel would actually be better. Like if you could just like sit in, like what you're talking about, the atmosphere of it, the way that you can see stuff like moving across the plants and the way they use the screens and everything. It's
I also think what would have been really cool for this, and again, I don't know how many people have played that Horizons game for, I don't know if it's an exclusive for PlayStation, but anyway,
Horizon
really
Zero Dawn.
Yeah, and so we just got PlayStation VR 2, and that's the game that came with it, so the VR version of that. Mm-hmm. And I would tell you in the beginning, it feels very Avatar-ish, right, when you're in the game. I wish there was almost like an animatronic on the front of the boat talking to you.
That'd be kind of cool.
That I feel like would be really cool because that's how that game feels. Like you're in kind of the same scenario and it feels like, and there's a person talking to you from the front of the boat. Like that would be really cool. And I figure like that would be something that they could have done. But overall, I mean, this is a B+ ride for me.
Oh, nice.
I would say. Yeah.
By the way, it is 4.5 minutes long, which is longer than I thought it was.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like it is. It really doesn't.
Which,
I think in the beginning, when you in the beginning, like you're kind of just enthralled a little bit by, what's going on above you, that I feel like it makes it feel shorter because you're kind of looking up a little bit and you're looking into the, the jungle a little bit. And I think that maybe that's what kind of takes away that time. I don't know. That's kind of how I feel. Well,
to your point, there's a lot of detail in that ride, right? So
it really is.
You can ride it a lot of times and see a lot of different things within the ride, especially since you're in the dark and there's stuff on both sides of you and there's a fair amount going on. I like when we get the lights from above, right? The stuff above you. I think that's really cool as well. Yeah. No, I agree.
It's funny that you're mentioning about having having an animatronic or something on the front of the boat because so I'm on Wikipedia right now and I'm reading the description of the ride. Mm-hmm. And when I think back to how the ride actually goes, none of this stuff is explained. So listen to this description.
That's true. Yeah.
Right. Boarding a handwoven reed boat provided by Alpha Centauri Expeditions, guests journey down the Caspavan River into a colorful bioluminescent rainforest. After Na'vi scouts greet guests on the shore, the boat passes by viper wolves, hexapedes, wood sprites, panopria, and fan lizards. After passing under leaves that creatures above are hopping between, the boats come across a Na'vi tribe and their dire horses walking to a ceremonial site. Passing by a waterfall, guests see the shaman of song singing, leading the Na'vi into a musical celebration of their bond with Ewa. After the encounter, the boats entered a cave with various offerings and returned to the loading docks. None of that is explained.
They developed quite a story whatsoever. For that they didn't.
Like if there was like somebody kind of narrating that as I went through, that would be far more engaging.
Yeah,
I would agree.
I get that. All right, so I mean, I think that was our first ride segment, right? Like, is that it? Yeah. I mean, you guys want to say
what did you say? So I mean, I give it a B+. I mean, it's definitely a B+ for me. Like, what do you guys have going on?
But
it's not your favorite ride, though, right? Not your favorite ride in Avatar.
No, definitely not. Yeah. Definitely not. Flight of Passage is definitely the favorite there. But no, I like it. I agree with you. I tend to gravitate towards the more like you said, kind of the times when you don't feel like you're in a theme park, right? Like and there's some spots in Magic Kingdom you can even find where it's almost quiet and kind of like serene, and it's like you don't feel like you're in a park. And you're right, this is fully immersive, and it feels very much like what it's intended to be. I mean, I don't it's certainly not like a thrilling ride, right? But it's a great dark ride, and we didn't really do Pandora last time we were there for a variety of reasons, but I know my daughter would very much enjoy it too. So next time we go on, so yeah, no, I think it's a B. I think it's there.
Yeah, it's just kind of like you said, Damon. It's good, but they missed the mark a little bit for me. So yeah, I wouldn't go any higher than a B for it.
All right. Well, let's wrap this thing up then. Unless there's anything else you want to mention. We're almost at 2 hours here. So.
But I made it to the end. But I guess it doesn't really count if I didn't start at the beginning, though.
This is definitely, maybe your biggest Kool-Aid Man episode where you just busted through the wall out of nowhere.
Forgot. I was all the way downstairs, and what time is it?
I'm not gonna lie, man. I was low key getting a little worried about you.
The thing is,
I actually thought that something came up because
Well, I left my phone upstairs. Like I try not to always carry, like, it's depending who's home. You know what I mean? Like I try not to carry my phone like everywhere I go in the house. So like I left it all the way upstairs and just kind of forgot about it. So normally you would have texted me and I would have been like, oh yeah, I better get on. So the fact that it was upstairs kind of was the problem. Yeah. Kind of the problem.
All right. Let's wrap it up.
All right. Okay. As usual, if you guys want to reach out to us, you can always find us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. We love getting questions from you guys, hearing trip reports and all that kind of stuff. So keep that coming. If you would like to find us on social media, you can find us on Facebook as Welcome Home Podcast, and you can check out our Facebook group, Welcome Home Disney Waitlist. If you're in there, as usual, we do listener questions towards the beginning of the show. We appreciate if you have any questions for us, DVC or otherwise Disney related, always appreciate it. Even non-Disney related, but there's an asterisk there. Don't get too far out, or we just won't read it. So yeah, we appreciate you guys, engaging with us on that level. And, also if there's other places you would like to follow us, you can go to YouTube and, follow us on there as Welcome Home Podcasts. Instagram is Welcome Home Pics. Those are great places whenever we do live shows or go to the parks, you can keep track of what we're up to. And if you'd like to help support the show, go to store.welcomehomepodcast.com and, check out some of our merchandise there. I will push I'll push the fanny pack again because Jeremy did such a great meme about it.
That was pretty good.
It's a great place to keep your churro when you're on your ride, so you don't drop your churro. I don't know why you would keep a churro in a fanny pack, but
ruin your fanny pack. I mean,
a funny idea. Well,
filled with sugar and cinnamon, and no, I'm good.
Well, or you put a little plastic bag in there so that it
go.
Doesn't go everywhere. But
that works.
Yeah. So yeah, if you want a welcome home fanny pack or even mugs or t-shirts or anything, check out the store. If Patreon is more your speed, you can go to patreon.com/welcomehomepod and check out our different levels of Patreon support, which offer exclusive rewards that you can only get on Patreon. And Patreon subscribers also get access to the Discord server, which we mentioned earlier, is a great place where we have conversations as well. I feel is a little more intimate, but I feel there's plenty of ways to reach out to us. If also, if you're listening to the show, please consider leaving us a 5-star review if you're on iTunes or Spotify, because that does help more people find the show. And if you want to leave us a review, that would help as well. We enjoy seeing the reviews people leave, as well as hearing your feedback.
No reviews this week to highlight, unfortunately. We need some more reviews. Yeah. So please review us or give us some 5 stars on Spotify. We appreciate that. So. And don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, just about any podcast app out there. You can find us. Just search for, if you search for DVC these days, we show up pretty high in the results. So, search for Welcome Home. You can find us pretty quickly on just about any app. Just a reminder to our listeners, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company. As such, all opinions we express on the show are our own. So please consult any DVC cast member or Disney cast member for more information about anything we talked about today. Huge thank you to DVC Resale Market for sponsoring this episode and to World of DVC for continuing to be a supporter of the show. Join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Do a huddle when we hit a chair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar bowl.